In Minecraft 1.16, zero ticking is a thing of the past, so you need a cactus farm that will work beautifully in this version. I'm going to give you a choice of two, show you how to make them both, and give you a world download. Don't you go anywhere. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to another episode from me, Avomance, in my Minecraft tutorial series for 1.16. We are in the 1.16 snapshots right now, but the things I'm doing are not likely to change in the 1.16 full version. Today, we are doing cactus farming. Now, we've got to do cactus farming in 1.16 because they have broken the zero tick. Well, say broken it, they've patched it. Zero ticking is no longer a thing. So as a result, we've got to go back to different types of methods. I'm going to show you two different types of methods to make up a cactus farm. The first is really cheap, really cheap, but there are some losses. And the second is slightly less cheap, but there's no losses whatsoever. So I'm going to show you both of those. So you've got a choice. Let's crack on. Two very differently designed farms here, and there is a world download in the description below so you can come and have a sniff around them yourself. The trade-off is very simple. The one on the left gives you no loss whatsoever, so less cactus gives you more results, but it is a lot more expensive, and it would help if you had an iron farm or have got a lot of pickaxes. The one on the right, not remotely expensive, very cheap in fact, but you get a loss of something like 3 in 10, so it's quite high. Make your choice. Which one would you rather have? To make this farm the same size as I'm going to, which is 4 levels, you are going to need 96 of a structural block. I'm using stone bricks. 96 of a different structural block. I'm using oak planks. 96 cactus. 96 sand. 24 of a temporary block. Now, I would suggest wool because it's easy to mine out, but it's up to you. 2 chests. 2 hoppers. 2 buckets of water. And I've got 12 stacks plus 44 of light grey stained glass. Doesn't have to be light grey stained glass, could be normal glass. You could even use cobblestone if you wanted to, because it doesn't have to be transparent. I just like light grey stained glass, what can I tell you? That is 812 blocks of glass. Now, our first farm is dead easy, and I'm sure you'll find it really familiar. I'm going to put a double chest in there, and I'm going to take out the bits at the back, and I'm going to put 2 hoppers in there. And I'm then going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to put a thing there. I'm going to come along the other way. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to put a thing right there. So counting from here, so not including this fella, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And pop one more. And then on the other corner, we're going to come all the way along and do exactly the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then one more. So you can see here we've got a bit of a rectangle. Now what I want you to do with this rectangle, from this one here all the way to this one here, I want you to raise this platform up so it is a single solid platform. Now you could do it on the floor. I just think it looks nicer if it's a single solid platform. I'll be back when I've done that. So you should have a shape that looks exactly like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to come to the front with this jutty out bit, and we're going to create a slot that jumps over that and comes all the way to the other side. We're then going to get some steps that match the block that you're using. So do use a block that has steps, and put some upside down steps, because you can then access that chest really easy. Then get your stone blocks again and do a trim along the 3 sides of this particular platform. Don't do it across the front where you've got the slot, not at the moment anyway, and come all the way like that. Right, so now get yourself a temporary block. I'm just going to use wool because it's easy to mine out later. Come to the corner, and one in from this space here. This is the far corner space. One in and one down. Place a temporary block there. Leave a gap, temporary block, leave a gap, temporary block, and continue that all the way along until you get to 2 away from the edge like that, and then come down 2 and repeat the process here, and then do it twice more. Then get a not temporary block. This block does not matter one jot. I'm using oak planks because they are super easy and super cheap to get hold of. You could use cobble, you can use whatever you want. You could use diamond blocks if that's your choice, but we can put one of these blocks on each and every one of these temporary blocks here, all the way to the front row, And once these are completely full, take out your temporary blocks because you do not need them anymore. Once you have those blocks in place, pop a sand block on top of each and every one of them. Now the reason for this is fairly clear. You have to have sand to grow a cactus. Cactus won't grow on anything else other than sand. And in fact, you can't even place them on anything else other than sand. So make sure you've got a sand block on each and every one of those. Then get your temporary block again. And you want to be building a temporary tower 2 high on every other one. So you've got your temporary tower there, which will service these two. And then you need to place a temporary tower on this one, which will service those two. And then a temporary tower on this one, which will service that one. And then get yourself your block again. The same block that you've got here, or a different one if you wish, and place on either side of each of these temporary towers like this. Now decide how many cacti it is you're actually going to want. The more levels, the more cacti you will get. Now approximately from previous tests, for each level you get around about half a stack an hour of cactus. So I'm going to go for 4 levels to give me 2 stacks of cactus an hour, just very approximately, but we'll test that later. But if you want 6 or 8 or 27 levels, it's entirely up to you. For every level you want, you have to do exactly the same thing. Get a temporary block tower on every other sand block like this, and then either side of that get your support block and place it on either side of the top of the temporary tower. And then once you've got those there, remove those temporary towers and place a sand block on top of the support block. Try not to throw your sand away. Once you've completed the number of levels that you want, and you say I've done 4 there, you can see the grids. That's given me 96 cacti. Get it right, man. We're going to put a bucket of water there, and then we're going to come along to the end here. We're going to put a bucket of water in there, and then we're going to miss one. We're going to put a bucket of water in, miss one, bucket of water in, and continue doing that. If you've only got 2 buckets of water, it's dead easy. Collect your water bucket from the side, and then you can carry on. Collect it from the side, carry on, collect it from the side, and just carry on like that. As long as you create a water source between the two, you've got every chance of being able to do that. That will stretch water all the way along, and then pop another water bucket in there. That will run the water from each end and not go onto those hoppers there. Then get yourself, I like light grey stained glass. It doesn't have to be light grey stained glass. In fact, it doesn't have to be glass at all. You can completely hem this in with solid blocks. It matters not. But I quite like to be able to see what's going on inside. And put a row of glass across the top like that. And then put another row of glass all the way around the outside. As I say, anything you like, doesn't matter what block you use. Glass is dead easy, especially if you've got a load of cactus anyway. You've probably gone to a desert and collected a load of sand, which means that you can get a load of glass. It's not that hard, and it's certainly not that expensive. Do what you will with it. But you need to get these up to the level of this first block of sand. So I'll be back when I've done that. So once you are at the level of this first block of sand, you can start to place your cacti down. Now you can reach the second block very, very easily just by walking along the wall like this. You don't have to climb up and down ladders or anything daft like that. It's just not necessary. Get these all placed in like this, and then come around the other side and, unsurprisingly, place the back lot. Whatever you do, don't fall in the water, because you'll have to mine your way out through the glass, and that just wastes the glass. There you go. So you've got your first layer done, and then build your glass up to the next layer and do exactly the same again, and then the next layer and do exactly the same again, and then the next layer and do exactly the same again, and then build it up another 2. I'll be back when I've done that. So we are now 1 block above the level of the top cactus, and what we want to do now is we want to come to the row between the front 2, and we want to block across with a solid block. It doesn't matter what block you use. I'm just going to use the glass again, but it literally doesn't matter. You can use any block you want as long as it's a solid block, and come all the way along here and create a single row between this entire cactus rows. That's terrible English, and we are there like that. And then come to the back and do exactly the same. So This is this block here, and create a row all the way along here too. And that will act as the cactus plucker for the very top row. Only do this to the top level that you want. Don't do it on any of the levels below because you really don't need to. Now, if you want to expand this at any point and put more levels on it, you absolutely can. All you need to do is remove those two and replace the next level in exactly the same way as you have with the previous levels. And now we can put a lid on it if you want to. And the joy of this is you absolutely don't have to put a lid onto this whatsoever. So I'm not going to bother. But if you want to put a roof on, make sure you use either a transparent block like glass or alternatively a bottom slab or some other such similar thing so the mobs can't spawn. Now, if you've in survival, which you almost certainly are going to be, this is a very long drop, especially if you've done 40 levels. So what you need to do now is jump yourself down into the water against that corner block. That will then allow you to break those two blocks out, come out, and replace those two blocks, and you've got a fully functional farm. Literally, this thing is finished. You do not need any light in this farm. Cactuses grow in the dark. Sorry, cacti grow in the dark. They don't need light source, so this will go through day and night. Now that design is incredibly cheap, but it does come at a price. That price is the fact that you're going to lose about 3 in every 10 of the cactus blocks that pop off the top of those cactus. Reason being, if something lands on top of a cactus, it gets destroyed, and that's true of itself. It effectively cannibalizes its own blocks, but about 7 in every 10 will come off, so the more levels you have, the more you're going to get through. Now, I'm just going to show you at very fast speed what this farm does. You saw one block just pop off right there, but random tick speed of a game is 3 in Java. It's just 3. In Bedrock it's 1, but it's in Java it is 3. So this is very, very slow. It can take up to 18 minutes for one of these guys to actually grow and pop off. So I'm just going to increase the speed by a factor of 1,000 so you can see what is going on. Game rule, random tick speed, 3,000. And just watch this. It goes absolutely mental. But this is in fast time what it is you're going to find in your farm. Now, the only reason you might want to put a roof on, like we suggested before, is occasionally you can get the odd block land on top of those struts that go across the top. But in general, most of the stuff goes into the barrels. Now, this next farm doesn't experience any loss, so every single cactus block that pops off will be collected by your system, but it is expensive. And by expensive, I don't mean it's going to cost you a load of diamonds. It is, however, going to cost you a reasonable bit of iron, and the bigger you make it, the more iron it's going to cost you. So if you've got an iron farm, this guy's a breeze. If you've not got an iron farm, be prepared to go mining a bit. To make the second design in the same size that I have, which is again at 4 levels, you are going to need 8 chests, 84 hoppers, 40 sand, 192 light grey stained glass. Again, you don't have to use light grey stained glass. You could use any block you wanted, plus another 10 for the roof. This needs to be a transparent block or a slab. 10 rails, because you can reuse them, 40 mine carts with hopper, and about a stack of a temporary block, light blue wool or other ball, something like that, works beautifully. First things first, get yourself a double chest, and then come into the side of it, not the back of it, with a hopper there, and then get a hopper coming into the side of that. Remember to use shift and into the side of that. So you've got a bit like a T shape sitting there like that. Get a rail there, and a minecart with hopper there and there. Now get yourself a temporary block and crouch and come up to there, and then get yourself some sand. Put a sand on that side and a sand on that side. Now what that will allow you to do is rest this sand on top of these minecart with hoppers, because you need to now crouch really carefully, and you can see you're highlighting the rail, the hitbox of the rail. Get rid of it. That sand will glitch into that minecart. Do the same on that side and it will glitch into that minecart. Then get some glass. Glass is good. I personally prefer glass. Doesn't have to be glass. You could use another block. And on the top block here, place glass that comes around in that sort of shape. Remove that and click that there, and remove that. You can leave that block. It's not doing any harm, so you might as well just leave it And then you can get yourself your cactus and place a cactus block on top of that and on top of that. Now what will happen now is the cactus will grow into this space in the middle of these glass blocks, but because cactus doesn't like growing next to anything, it'll instantly pop off. And the only place it can go is on top of the cactus. Because we've got the cactus growing on a block that is effectively the same hitbox as that minecart with hopper, it will suck the cactus block through the cactus without it being destroyed, and will go into the minecart with hopper, through the hopper, and into the chest, just like that. And I'll try and demonstrate that by throwing a bit of cactus on top of the cactus to see if I can get it right. There you go. So the cactus disappeared as it hit the cactus, and now ordinarily that would have been destroyed, but this time it's come out on top. Right, so now what we can do is we can go backwards and put in a number of these. So I'm going to just take this hopper and I'm going to go 1, 2. So I'm counting 2 for everyone. So that's 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 4. And then I'm going to come back this way. 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, and 1, 4. And I'm going to put a row of hoppers all the way along like this. Now you don't have to make it this big. This is a lot of hoppers. I appreciate that, but it depends how much you actually want to get. And then get yourself a rail, and using shift click, put a rail on every other one like that. Try and get them the same way because it's just going to be easier to manipulate later. And then put a minecart with hopper on top of each of those rails. And you want to repeat this thing on all of those. So get yourself your temporary block, place it between, and bring that up one more. Put a sand on either side. Perfect. And then come down and again highlighting the hitbox of those rails, drop the sand into that minecart with hopper on each and every one of them. Be careful not to knock the actual minecart itself, because if it goes off the rail it ceases to work. You can now get rid of these fellas because you don't need them, because you can use this existing block to come all the way up and around in a complete circuit, and then come down the middle and also create the grid like that. So you've got a series of holes. You can then plant up your cactus in each and every one of those, and you now have a 10 cactus farm that is going to be 100% effective. And you can make that as long as you want. I'm just going to stick with 5 at the moment because we're also going to put on some more levels. Now, to keep this 100% lossless, if this is your one and only level, you need to put a block above that there, because if you don't, you can get cactus popping out on top. But if you're going to go for more levels, you don't have to do that. So what we're going to do for more levels is this really, really simple structure. Put on top of this block on the chest, put a hopper. On top of that, put a chest. Knock out that glass and put another hopper, and on top of that put another chest. Now if you've got so much iron you don't know what to do with it, you could run hoppers all the way down, but I'm using chests just to reduce the iron burn because it's quite a lot of iron with all these hoppers. Put a hopper going into the side of that and a hopper going into the side of that, and then run the chain of hoppers all the way back the same distance, and the same on this side all the way back. And then what you need to do is exactly the same as you did before. So get yourself your rails, run your rails over the same places that you've got cactus at the moment. So shift click there and there, leave a gap there and there, leave a gap there and there, there and there, there and there. And again, exactly the same way, we need to bring ourselves some towers of temporary blocks that come 2 blocks above that rail. There, there and there. We'll then put a minecart with hopper on each of these rails like that, and sand there, there and there, and then knock out the rails, just like that. And then what we need to do is we need to put, again, a row of glass or whatever block it is you want to use around the top. So we're literally just going to do exactly the same as we did before. Make sure that we've got glass all the way around, but not above these sand blocks. And then, really importantly, get rid of these, because if you don't get rid of them, it ain't going to work. And finally, place the cactus on top of the sand. Exactly like that, and you've got a second level. Now you can put this up as many levels as you would like, depending on how much iron you want to spend on it. And like the other farm, so we can do a relatively fair test, we are going for 4 levels. That means that this farm has got 40 cacti in it, and this farm has got 96 cacti in it. So I'll be very, very interested to find out what the relative consumption of cactus is going to be for these 2 separate farms. So what I'm going to do, this one with the much smaller footprint and that one with a bigger footprint but far less iron, let's see which one is the best in terms of physical production. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to empty out the cactus that have come in here already. I'm going to empty out the cactus that's come in here already. All of that. And we are going to do a test for a single hour. Let's go. So we are back 1 hour later, almost exactly 1 hour to the minute actually. And let's look at the big one first. So option 1, if we have a look in the chest, you can see the fella's still going. We have got a little over 3.5 stacks for a 4-tier system. So very nearly a stack an hour. And bearing in mind that we started it off fairly early, so once it gets primed, the speed will increase. So that kind of matches with the 1 stack an hour theory that comes with that. Same with this, whatever result we get is going to be under what we would expect it to be. So we've got what? So 40 there, 4 stacks of 10 in each. And we've got, right, okay, about 2 3/4 stacks for a 4-tier system. So again, it's obviously not as many as that has given us, because there's more than, you know, there's like nearly 100 pieces of cactus on this one. This one has only got 40. If you make it bigger, you'd get more. But all in all, it's actually not too bad for an hour's work. You'd expect a good 3 and a bit stacks, I would think, from a 4-tier system once that one starts rolling. There we go, as promised, 2 entirely different cactus farms working in 2 entirely different ways, but giving a reasonable output of cactus. This one, relatively expensive to make, but really nice and small footprint. This one, dead cheap to make, but the footprint is much bigger. Remember, you can make these go a lot higher and make a real industrial farm, maybe even making a full chest of cactus an hour, which is more than a little insane. If you have enjoyed this video, please do remember to slap that like button. It'd be great to know you're enjoying it, and I will keep on making them. Also, if you've not done it already, please do hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to see it in my sub club, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. You take it easy now. Bye.